Brody, right?
Luke Martin.
John Barrington.
I know who you are. So how was it out there?
It was great.
What was great about it?
The experience.
The experience. And was it your first race this summer, or did you go for time previously?
We did 3 races this summer. Time trials, this one, and Discovery Day.
And what was your result out there today?
3 wins.
3 wins, but about your time, did you...
Oh, yeah. It was great.
3 wins, great time. How about you?
It was good. It was a lot of fun, yeah. Our time was 2 minutes, 49 seconds.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah.
Is that your fastest time that you rode since Discovery Day and time trials?
Yeah, we caught a dub.
You called it a dub?
We caught a dub.
Oh, a dub, like they lost an oar.
Yeah.
Oh, caught a dub, does that mean a win?
Like a
W.
Oh my God, there's a whole nother language.
Caught a dub for the.
So is this how you guys know each other from hockey?
Yeah. Stop.
Okay, so this is the stroke and bow rowing crew with veteran coxswain John Barrington, and I assume one of these is your son? Raise your hand. We love it. We love the family connection. So I think that wraps it up here. Congratulations, boys, on a great row. We hope to see you back in years to come.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, and now we are going to break until the championship races. So please tune back in 6:30 p.m. for the female championship race, 7 p.m. for the men's championship race. They're sure to be great races, great conditions, great day of racing. Congratulations to the participants and the committee, and we'll see you shortly.
The lift wasn't working and he was in pain, so I tried to lift him on my own. Yes, it's bad. I'll need help.
Can I help you with that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta. I am Jason Piercy, one of three, well, I won't say one of three incredibly talented hosts because that would mean I'm bragging. What I mean is I'm joined by two people who have been rocking it all day long. Amanda, like the rowing knowledge, the culture, the history, everything. Jim, same deal, filling in when I'm out gallivanting and jumping in dunk tanks for young adult cancer. It's been amazing having you guys here. And we are getting ready for our women's championship race. How's everybody feeling about this? You guys are the rowers. You're the ones who know.
Well, it's weird not to be out there, that's for sure. Last 3 years I was out there, and so it's different being dockside. But, I mean, it's been a great day all around, and I think we're going to see some fast times here in the championship.
Yeah, the pond conditions are conducive for a record, and it's been proven that records can be made by these crews that are out here already. And it's just... you know, I said to a few of the girls that are going out to a couple of crews, I said, just enjoy the moment.
Yep.
You worked so hard. A lot of crews are on the bank watching this that would have loved to be out there, so relish the moment and just enjoy it for what it is.
I think a lot of people have in their mind who they expect to come out of the women's championship with a gold medal. What are we thinking for the rest of the podium?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Because as we were talking about earlier, High Flow Hydraulic just absolutely smashed the best ever time rowed on a women's course when they were in Placentia, a time of 4:54. They didn't quite obtain that this morning, but still a respectable time. Geez, very fast, 5:04.04, nothing to shake your head at. So like you said, they were just up on the screen there. We expect them to cross the line first. And then coming in second place, in Harbor Grace, we saw the Cowgirls come back in the night and take it. So I don't know, Jim, what do you think of that?
Well, rowing at this level is all about confidence, and the fact that they did that in Harbor Grace, that those girls are getting in that boat, and every one of them are thinking that this is ours for the taking, and they got enough experience in the boat to actually execute that. So those two crews is going to be an incredible race to watch. Interestingly enough, between Steers Insurance and Don Burke, they've been battling it all season, and Steers have kind of had the edge on them. And Don Burke showed this morning that they weren't going away. So I expect that this is going to be an incredible race between them, and to round out the thing, Kennedy's Cleaning Services. So.
Well, I'm just going to line up the stakes and boats here for the women's championship race. On stake number 1, and this crew would have selected this boat and this stake at the draw in the afternoon, is coxswain Craig Whittle, stroke Catherine Kelly. So this is the High Flow Hydraulic team we've been talking about all day. And in that boat, Tracy Roach, Wendy Young, Teresa Butler, Amanda Butland, Jenny Wadden, Spares, Katie Wadden, Nancy Beaton.
So on stake 2, you got in the Pomeroy Gold, coxswain Ben Colburn, and you got Lindsay Howells, Shannon Driscoll, Courtney Langmead, Stephanie O'Quinn, Mary Klein, Mimic Work, and Jennifer.
And on stake 3 in the Jerry Angel, with coxswain Denise Carew and stroke Amanda Muse is Daw and Burke. And then on stake 4 in the Iceberg Gold was that team, and stake 5 in the
we got the Cougar helicopters, Barry Ring Cox, Tina Ring stroke.
And it looks like we're all getting lined up here. Starter, we're getting pretty steady. That's the start. We're off
Sorry, that crew I skipped over there was steers, and I can't
Steers,
do
that's-
that
no,
with Jimmy
my-
Carroll
yeah.
standing next to me.
Because I steered them last year in this race. Yeah, but it looks like all crews are off to a really strong start, which we expected.
So after you departed from the steers crew, I understand it's Gord Delaney is in the coxswain seat there now?
Gord Delaney is coxswain. Paul Power came on board as coach, and they put in Steers Insurance have put in an incredible winter. So they're trying to just go out there and relax and execute, and hopefully, you know, all of these crews, they just want to have their best race of the day. And when you get out of the boat at the end of a championship race, you just want to say that you executed the best race plan you can, and whatever it is, it is.
You want to have nothing left, that's for sure.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Coming up towards the boathouse here across the marquee, I mean, it's hard to tell from the angle. It looks like Craig Whittle has got his girls maybe a tiny bit ahead, but it's so hard to tell.
I would say right now, Stake 2, the Cal group, looks like they have a very slight lead, but not enough to get comfortable with, that's for sure. And the 5th place crew that squeaked into this race by just a few seconds, Kennedy's Cleaning Services, are holding their own as we approach the turn.
I mean, we've got a half a boat length among everybody.
Yep. And again, with these, as close as these races are, especially, you know, on any race, especially the ladies' course, because it's over so fast, this is the turn is going to be absolutely critical because, you know, if they can gain a second or two and just get that confidence edge coming off the turn, it can change the whole outcome of a race. So
and
it's
just
going
like
to be
we saw in Harbour Grace, it was
Yep.
less than a second between Cal and Pomerleau High Flow Hydraulic. And High Flow Hydraulic won in the morning, and the Cal group got it in the night. So you can see all those crews in the shot.
If you have a look at the conditions of the water there, I mean, even if we reverse back an hour and a half, 2 hours, it wasn't windy by any means, but it's almost like it just stopped completely for the championship races. I mean, it's glass.
I'd
it's
like to
about
know
as-
where these days were when I was rowing.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, this is ideal conditions for anybody who's watching at home. This is ideal
Like,
conditions.
look how
for
tight
racing.
this is across all 5 stakes.
Yeah, and Jimmy, what do you think? To me, it looks like the Cal group has a slight edge.
It does so. From this angle here, they look like got a slight edge, and but they're going into the turn there now. So it looks like Cal and Hydroflolic, they caught around the same time. There's a really good shot of this. Yeah.
Very close. It looks like,
But
That is amazing
Yeah.
coverage.
Yeah.
A great shot of all 5
Incredible shot.
championship teams rowing.
look how close we are here.
so if you look at the crew on stake 3, Dawbrook, they went below the cake, and you look at stake 4, Steers Insurance, they just gained a half boat length back from they went in 4th place, and they just gained a half boat length back. So if that coxswain is going to ride that crew there now, they're saying, okay, let's go for it. We got this. Let's go for it.
And we've been saying all day that the women's race can be won or lost on a turn, and you just saw a perfect example of it right there. With High Flow Hydraulic, I think they had a slight second going in, but they must have had a very good turn because they
Very
seem
tight
to
turn.
be pulling ahead of the Cal group as they approach the marquee.
And as they drive, as they're going up towards the beer tent, you can hear everybody hooping and hollering.
That's the best part.
Yeah, they're creating.
They're really getting you going
they're actually,
there.
I think they probably got maybe open water right now. So
That's the High Flow Hydraulic team there in the shot. Last year rode under Smith Stockley, and this year had a sponsor change to go with Amanda Butlin's company, High Flow Hydraulic.
but it is shaping up to be quite the race between
Cal's
the Cal
not giving
group.
up easy,
no,
that's for
there's
sure.
too much character in that boat. So this is going to be a great finish, and you know those coxswains are just trying to get every ounce of energy out of those crews. Because they got about a minute left based
And
on this angle.
coming up across the marquee again, I mean, 2/3 of a boat length, maybe.
There's not a full boat length. There's not open water between the Cal group and High Flow Hydraulic.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to the finish. I know Lindsay Hallwell is not letting that slip out of her hands easily, having rowed against her numerous times.
Yeah.
So Catherine and Kelly and her team are going to have to step it up and have a strong finish to maintain that lead.
This looks like it's getting tighter and
this
tighter.
is going to be an awesome finish, and it's and this is what you want championship races to look like.
And watching the time as they're coming in, I mean, 4:35, and
this is
see how close we
fantastic
are.
row.
It's very tight,
and
you can feel that energy here around the winner's circle. I
great
mean, everybody's
bell,
lined
and,
up
you know,
watching.
The
I'd like to know
competitiveness-
how close this is to actual time, because we're getting closer.
Yeah, well, they're
You're
about.
getting nervous
Get
as
a bit
current
nervous.
record holder.
I'm predicting 5:03.
that would have been close to the row this morning. It seems to be a bit of delay on our screen, but it looks like High Flow Hydraulic's going to do it. Oh, Jimmy, that was
High
good.
Flow, pull in,
And
at an unofficial time, called by Mr. Jim Carroll.
the Cal group
5:03.
finished second place, and the battle for third. And it looks like Steers Insurance are going to pull back and retain that third position for the championship race.
And all about like
Whoa,
you
so
commented.
close, so
Oh.
close.
Yeah, wonderful row, all crews.
A battle for first and second, a battle for third and
Third, fourth.
And here we have in the fifth place Kennedy's Cleaning Services. But you know what? They were in the show, and that's the ultimate
And-
Oh
goal.
yeah,
listen.
and barely, right? Like coming out of that second run.
Yeah, that was a great row, great race to watch, and an incredible pond to row on.
And you can hear the crowd on the top of the pond from down here in the winner's circle. I'm excited for when the ladies get up here and we get Diana to have a conversation with them about it, how they feel. That's a fantastic time.
Fantastic, and there was a wonderful crowd at the head of the pond, and it goes again. You know, something 7:20 here this morning. There was a huge crowd at the head of the pond.
Yeah.
You know, so somebody say that the sport is not alive and well. Yeah,
Hard
it's
to believe
wonderful
it.
to see.
Hard
And
to believe it.
You could see there when High Flow Hydraulic passed the line, one of the oars just
Went
went
straight
straight
up.
up there, and you can see Craig holding it up over
Yeah,
the side
yes,
of the boat.
yeah.
So they're going to have some issues getting back in there because I guess in the fatigue and the heat of the moment, they lost the oar. So
Well, hopefully there's no damage done to the rigging. If
Oh,
not,
that's
because
right.
I mean that boat's heading back out now shortly.
well, yeah.
is it? Let's see. So they were in the Miss Tubular. So I'm going to hand Jimmy the sheet for the men's and see where the Miss Tubular is.
Fine strokes. So
Same
that's
boat.
the same boat.
Same boat,
Yeah.
same stake. Are they
Same,
coming in
same,
first?
and same coxswain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should probably explain rigging for the folks at home. Or Jason, for that matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would like to know what you're talking about.
So, an oar is pitched on an angle in a certain way. So when the oars person puts the oar in the water and they pull through it, that the oar will go consistently through the water at a certain level. If it's pitched too on an angle backward, the oar will have a tendency to go really deep, and it's hard to get it out of the water. If it's pitched too much forward,
You're not gonna
you
get deep
can't
enough.
anchor it.
Yeah.
And so it's a certain pitch, and is measured on degrees, and there's an actual instrument they use, and they're mounted on a pin. So if the pin is bent because of what just happened,
we've got an issue then.
they're obviously going to have to just probably put a level on that boat when it comes in and just check the pitch meter with it, just to make sure that there's no damage on that rigging of that boat.
So what people might just say, oh, get a new oar. If the actual instrument, the oar lock,
Yes, exactly, yeah.
was damaged and is at a different angle, it will cause a problem. So it
No,
might not be
we've
fixable.
got a bigger break between races now, between the ladies and the men's championships, than we would of over the last 80 races that we've done or so. But still, possibly not enough time to fix that up. Is that what we're saying?
Well, they're the men's team who's using that boat, Fine Strokes. They're definitely going to want to have a look at it.
Yeah.
The other part about the rowers' adjustments that they make is the inboard and the outboard. We haven't talked about that much today. It's a preference for the rower or the crew, for that matter. You see the coxswains sometimes, or the rowers themselves, doing adjustments with the screwdriver, and that's to adjust the amount of oar handle that is in the boat. So if you increase your inboard, your oar is going to be further out and more in line with the your outside, and then if you decrease your inboard, then you could be pulling in kind of more to the middle of your midsection, like kind of above your belly button. So all rowers have a different preference for that.
They do, and sometimes as a training concept, they would put more oar out in the water because the water gets heavier because you got less fulcrum in the boat, and so they use it for strength building and training. But ideally, when you go to race, you want your elbows bringing that oar in parallel into your ribs and not going across into your stomach, so that you got good power right to the finish.
And
of
as
the
the
stroke.
ladies dock up here on the side, and I mean, what a wonderful job was done in this, just to know that they're coming out of that onto something a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Climbing back up onto
So
the
that
concrete.
looks like Don Burke, is it, with Ben Colburn coxswain there? Is that? Where's the-
You got it. Over there.
Well,
I
I've
ate
taken
it.
it upon myself to throw that away. So,
No, actually, I think Denise Crew steered Don Burke.
Why did that look like Ben? I'm seeing things.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
Cal group.
Cal,
Ben.
yeah,
Ben
yeah.
is the coxswain of the Cal,
Cal group, yeah.
So they are into the dock now as number 3 there, Teresa Butler, holds up her broken oar
Yeah.
in celebration over her head.
Not really surprised that it was Teresa Butler that ripped it out and tossed it up in the air.
Well, tell yourself she's a wild woman
She is a
and
wild
proud
woman.
of it.
Yeah.
She is, and certainly an athlete in every sense of the word, not just a rower, a varsity basketball player.
Yoga.
She's a fitness queen.
And talking about, rowing romances and relationships over the year, Teresa Butler and Ronnie Whitten have a fine number of championships between them two, the
Yeah.
two of them now.
Yeah.
The lake's hottest new couple. I'll say it.
News at 1.
It's actually an episode of ET Canada.
Yeah, you heard it here first. We're gonna bring that up in the championship post-medal, post-trophy interviews.
Here's your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And this is Fine Strokes here now, or High Flow Hydraulic coming in here now. God, they changed their name so many times.
Yeah. Anyway, great roll.
Excellent row. Congratulations for an epic season. Fastest time ever rowed in Placentia is owned by these girls, 4:54. They've just had a tremendous season.
Yeah.
I know Kathy Ann Kelly has been chasing this championship for a long time, and I'm really happy to see her get it.
She's pretty close to a record of her own, isn't she?
Well, there's been some speculation. I might have a black eye later on tonight for saying this on TV, but there's been some speculation, and I'd had it confirmed by some good sources that Catherine Ann Kelly, who's sitting in number 6 right there, at the ripe old ages of 45, is possibly the oldest woman to cross the women's championship first.
Yeah.
So oldest woman to win her first championship, and that is absolutely incredible.
Well, it just goes to show that if you got the determination and you got the experience and you got a crew that's willing to go with you, that you can achieve a lot of dreams down here.
And the seasoning and the experience that comes with it is not necessarily, I mean, you don't need that youthful exuberance. It's young bull, old bull, and knowing, taking the time to do it right, learn over the years, all the experience, not being nervous on the stage.
And talking about working together, those girls, you can see them celebrating there right now. Jenny is a mother of 3. Teresa is a mother of at least 2, and Fred's kids as well, and Catherine Ann. So they all work together to balance each other's schedules with kids, families, work. It's just awesome. So happy for them.
Well, it's awesome to see, and they had the most beautiful evening to celebrate this. And we call this, for those folks at home, because they earned it, the little victory lap. So the championship crew usually waits for the other crews to make their way to the wharf, and then they just slowly down along the edge of the bank, and for their fans to get a close look at them and cheer them on.
And I have to say, before the end of our day is upon us, I have to thank Mark Hayward for compiling a whole bunch of regatta data, statistical information. He is the king of spreadsheets, that guy. So not only is a championship coxswain, they laid a 9:07 in the race this morning, the Fine Strokes crew, and I'm sure they'll be back to try and beat that tonight. But Mark can only cox and row. He can also do spreadsheets and pivot tables like it's no one's business. So thank you, Mark, for all the stats and all your hard work putting that together.
I think it's also important to note, at least now for a little while, while we wait for the women's championships, for the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta to come in, receive their medals, get their trophies, and we can talk to them. I guess, Amanda, your record's safe for another little while.
Well, if this is what Siobhan and everyone went through the last 15 years of waiting for the Oz FM record to go, I don't know. It's another 365 days where the girls don't have to get new tattoos, at least. Because they all have the time tattooed on their arms. So.
Yeah. No, incredible roll.
So as we can see the women's race winding down, coming on the screen are some of the blue uniforms that belong to the NTV men, and also the man of the hour there, Mark Hayward, who I just mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen between Belfour and NTV. So what do you think, Jim?
Well, the Belfour has had NTV's number for the last 2 years, but I know that a lot of work that the NTV has done this year, and I suspect NTV, they're going to close the gap this evening. I really do. I think there's enough experience on the bank helping this crew that they can. I would probably suggest there's probably a different race strategy, and I suspect we're going to see a closer gap I think NTV is really going to push Belfort to see them.
And I know because Dean Hammond was our coxswain with M5 for the last 2 years, and also Amanda Ryan, Alyssa Devereaux have been helping out NTV from the sidelines. In practice, they rode a 9:27. This morning, they posted a 9:28, so we know they're not happy with that. They're going to be trying to crack those teen numbers. So if not the win and the teen numbers, at least one of those two outcomes.
Well, I think if they get into the teens, it's going to be a dogfight with Belfort. So I think Belfort, they're strong crew. But I noticed this morning when they were racing, just a different technique and styles. Fine strokes. They have, when you look at the bow of their boat when it's slipping through the water, there's no water push up. And same thing with NTV. Belfort, when you look at their bow as they're pushing through the water, there's a bit of water popping up over the nose. So they got a little bit of heavier finish than the other two crews, which actually slows down the boat a little bit. A little bit of drag. So, Belfort can adjust that a little bit and sit up a little bit taller and not have that bigger layback. And to create that, to reduce that drag, they're going to be happy with their time. But if they don't, and NTV adjust their race strategy, it's going to be a good race to watch.
And I think he's watched a few races. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he's at least seen the dozen or so he's watched with me today. And he's a quick study, so it could be very possible, Jim, that you might be, to some degree, an expert in this field. So what I find sort of fascinating in this, we did it for the first race, and maybe we shouldn't have, but because it was closer than we thought, perhaps. But again, we're talking about second and third. We're not necessarily talking about who we expect to pull in first place. And the boys from Outer Cove, or would have been Outer Cove last year. This time around, of course, calling them fine strokes. I don't want to say shoe-in, but your guys are the pros. Is that what you're...
Well, Amanda, I've been watching this crew and the nucleus of this crew for a long while. The nucleus of this crew owns the record. And
pulled it down last year.
And anyway,
the men's course record crew was set in 2007.
No, I mean, and they won last year. Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
and
yes,
they rode like 9 flat or 9 last year.
Great run.
Yeah.
So so that crew has been on a 9-minute bubble, and he got 2 changes in the boat, and they're still rowing those times. So, unless something happens in their race plan or something unfortunate happens with the boat. That crew, they're going to roll low 9s and not under 9 on this pond today.
And I was so impressed this morning after the 2 changes in their crew from last year to this year to see them go so fast. I mean, I know the Cadigans have rode in 1,000 races, but Mark Hayward has not rode competitively in a long time, so kudos to him. Yeah, and
the other thing too is that, knowing that crew, and I never spoke to all of them, but I know that, from speaking to a couple, they had a phenomenal time back to pond. Like, I think their fourth quarter was like 2:08 or something ridiculous like that, which is a phenomenal time.
To have that much left in
the
tank.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I think they got more gas to burn going down. And so, especially on a pond like this where, they can taste potentially an under 9 roll, will they get close to 8:51? I don't know. But, that pond is...
I don't think
we can almost feel the wind picking up a little bit here now.
Yeah, but, unless something happens, if they execute their race plan, they should win. They haven't been challenged close enough for me to think that they won't win. But second and third is going to be, I think, is going to be a one to watch.
So you're thinking Belfort could be picking it up? Or you think NTV could catch them?
Yeah, I'm thinking NTV is going to give them a push.
Well, this is going to come down to endurance. Because this is their second race of the day. It's 10 minutes. So you're reaching in this race minutes 18, 19, 20 within a 12-hour period where you're pushing your body to the 100% max. Yeah. So whoever's body is more ready for that are the ones who's going to.
So is there any advantage then if you're not? I mean, I don't want to say if you're a shoe-in the first heat to get into the championship race, like people like Fine Strokes, Belfort, NTV likely would have been. NTV being okay with third place, not necessarily like leaving something in the tank for later today, knowing that they're gonna.
Well, that's a really good question. I'll be quite honest with you, but I would say that the coxswain will make that call in the fourth quarter. So, if a crew is behind by a boat length and a half in the fourth quarter, I haven't really seen a crew row through another crew. So yeah, that cat and mouse will start to play. Okay, guys. We know we got to adjust our race plan for the next race. We're going to qualify for the championship race. Okay, make sure no one passes us.
But leave a little in the tank.
and just finish the race. And so yeah, that happens out there. Yeah.
And they've had nearly 12 hours of downtime.
Well, what more do they want?
Well, I mean, I could have done with 12 hours of downtime.
Yeah, it's true. But just to talk a little bit more about the fine strokes, we've mentioned multiple times James Dan Cadigan, staple names around here, and also Coxon Craig Whittle and number 2 or Mark Hayward. But like you said, there are record holders in that boat. We've got Adam Kavanagh there. Mark Perry went to 2009 Canada Games. Excellent rower, technically, physically. I think he's the youngest in the boat. And then at the other extreme, Colin Stapleton, firefighter. He's fit. You know, he lives and breathes and sleeps strength and fitness, and this is what they do. So I mean, they're well prepared.
Yeah. So like I said, if they just got to go out and execute their race plan, and the pond conditions may or not be conducive for any type of record challenge, but I know they want to row their best tonight, and I'm sure we're going to see their best row this evening. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they do row faster tonight than they did this morning, and sometimes that happens anyway, Jason, because your body is limbered up a little bit more. It was a little bit different back
7 a.m.'s pretty early.
Well, it's a little bit different back like in the 80s, and when I was racing in the 90s, we were doing 3 races a day. So so the afternoon race you alternated. So if you were to figured you could win, you went out, you played a cat and mouse race so that you can save some energy for the championship race. But you still had to race. So back then, the fitness level was challenged incredibly. And these guys are going to be ready to race. They're warmed up now, like they're
and
stretched.
let's not joke about it. The amount of cheering they're going to get at the bottom of the pond at 7 o'clock at night is a lot different than it would have been at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, Amanda alluded to, I remember racing, coming back in the championship race, and our favorite team stake was either stake 1 or 2 if we had the opportunity to row on it.
You want to hear it.
Well, when we used to row by the bear tent, well, the yell that would come out of there and put just make your hair stand up, and it just gave you that, like the last 2 minutes, it gave you that adrenaline pump to get through that tough part of the pond. And so they'll be hearing it from the bear tent up, no doubt.
So you can see the crowd that's gathered around here. Everybody's starting to pull up. Our ladies are off the boat. They're trying to crawl in.
Actually, these are some of the winners kind of congratulating each other.
Somebody fell.
Yeah, it looks like somebody fell.
Looks like we may have had somebody have a little trip.
Well, that happens in crowds and stuff. They're calling for
we need a medic to the wards area, please, ASAP, just in front of the podium by the dock. Medic or a doctor, please, ASAP.
And nobody
We never like to hear that call.
No, definitely not. So we hope that everybody's okay. We're going to get some attention there as soon as we can.
Well, people are clapping.
A little bit of a round of applause. That's normally a good thing.
Sign.
Looks like everybody will be okay.
That's a good sign.
So that's good news.
And so just to say one more time, the Crosby Group in 2007 is a record holder for the men's course, 8:51, an absolutely phenomenal row. We're going on, well, we've passed the, how much is that, 2007, now 12
years.
Yeah, 12 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking fine strokes. Those boys from Meadow Cove, they can get down pretty close to 9. 8:51, I mean, the pond is pretty flat, but I mean, that's pushing it. Amanda, you're not confident of a record. You don't think?
Well, not right now.
You just think that you're the only one who could.
Personal best records, and they count for a lot too, but,
Not necessarily all-time records.
The thing with it is, if they go down, if they go down harder than they did this morning, I think I had them coming off the turn in like 4:40, and back years ago, like when teams were like that 8:51 was set and 9 flat was set, those records. like you were coming off the turn in 4:30, like 4:32, 4:33, and that gives you that fighting chance to come back because they obviously demonstrated they got juice in the tank, right? They rode 2:08. So.
And I think Diana has managed to wrangle up some female champion rowers. As we speak, she's getting the high flow hydraulic crew together there. So what we're going to do is throw to Diana to chat with some of these incredible athletes. Diana?
Hydro, high flow, hydraulic. High flow hydraulic. There you go. Congratulations. I have 4. I'm trying to wrangle them up. This is a problem. Here we go. All right. We're going to introductions. Can I get your names? 1 second, girl. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Catherine Kelly.
Tracy Roach.
Amanda Butland.
Teresa Butler.
Spare Nancy Beaton.
The broken oars, you can see. And who else do we got coming here?
Wendy Young.
All right. And you are?
Number 4. Wendy Young.
You're clearly committed to it. You're clearly committed to that number. And who else do we have?
Yes.
And we also?
Oh, Katie. Spare.
All right, so do we have everyone girls? And Jenny, sorry.
Jenny Wadden.
All right, so we don't have Craig Whittle, who is the coxswain for these girls, but he's back on the water. So I'm going to be talking to you guys a lot. So this is your 2019 Female Championship race for the regatta. This is your winners for the 2019 regatta. So very exciting. So I'm going to have a conversation here now. We're going to find out a little bit what's going on. How long have you guys been together?
Go ahead, Kathy. We've rowed together for a long time on and off, but this crew together has been together for just this year.
Just this year?
6 people. We've rowed together for a long time, but this crew of 6 have been together for just this year.
So girls, how many got champions? Is this the first championship?
My second. Her second. I've rowed for 20 years, and it's my first, and it's amazing.
How about you?
This is my second.
Second. And girls?
First.
First championship?
First.
And you, we know. Yeah, that's right. All right, so that's awesome, girls. Talk to me about your sponsor.
Our sponsor, right there.
So tell me a little bit about.
Hi,
Hi, how are you? Congratulations. So tell me how you got involved with these girls.
Amanda, she's an employee of ours, so she put in the request, and we basically said yes, great, we'll love to do it.
So is this the first time you've ever sponsored a crew?
No, we've done this, now this is our 5th time.
All right. So because we talk largely about how all of this wouldn't be possible without the without the support of the sponsors in the community, how important that is. So what does it mean to you guys now being here? Is this your first championship crew?
Definitely, yeah, it's amazing. We love it. It's more exciting than I could have ever imagined.
Right. So I guess now they're going to be hitting you up for next year. Are we coming back?
We hope. We hope.
So girls, it's really exciting, and I rode for years, and I never say I'm done, but I'm looking here now, all the little kiddies around. How do you manage balance all that with children?
With really excellent partner support.
Good point, good plug.
We actually couldn't do without, not just our partners, but our whole family have sort of contributed, but obviously our partners play a huge role in allowing us to do what we do day in, day out, so we're very thankful for that.
Because it's obviously a huge sacrifice, and it also means, and Jenny got, right, so twins and a 3-year-old. So as we can see, it's a real sense of family, and it's a real sense of community down here. So I guess the $1 million question, are we coming back next year?
More than likely.
I've been here I've been rowing, and I've been on the pond long enough that there's loads of crews made regatta nights.
Oh, yes. That is true.
Yeah. Everyone's coming back. But so it's exciting for you, 20 years. So what is different this year than all the years before that brought you to this?
The team just came together, and for anyone that is involved in sports or competitive sports, sometimes there's a magic. And this year, we had a coxswain who knew how to row and brought out the best in us, and 6 girls and 2 amazing spares who we just all got along, no egos, and we did all the work. Anything our coxswain said to do, we did it. And so we put all the work in.
So I have to give a plug because Craig Whittle is the coxswain for this ladies' crew, but he's back on the pond. Is he rowing or is he a coxswain?
He's a coxswain.
He's a coxswain for the Outer Cove crew from last year is now his crew, so fine stroke. So he's out in the boat with the guys.
Right. So I got to give a plug because Craig is from Placentia. So we're back to the Placentia blood then contributing. All right, so girls, amazing job. Congratulations. Stick around for your hardware and enjoy your night. Thanks very much. All right, so now I'm going to throw it back to Jason.
Okay, I am here with Mr. Christopher Darcy Dunn. Obviously, before we start this, a huge congratulations to the Ladies Championships here in the 201th Royal St. John's Regatta. Okay, Christopher, other than being really tall, why are you here?
I'm here people spotting. People just tap me on the shoulder and be like, find my child. And I'm looking over the crowd. I'm also here to talk about the Braxton Comedy Festival, which is this August 13th to 17th at the LSPU Hall. And it features the best stand-up, improv, sketch comedy that the island has to offer.
Well, not the best, because I will not be there.
I know, Jason, we couldn't get you on the lineup this year. You were too busy interviewing John Cleese, boy. We can't afford you at this stage in the game. We're in our third year.
So, can you drop a few highlights of some names, some people that we can see come out, or is all this a secret?
The gala is going to be headlined by Ryan Dillon, hometown favorite. Just recorded his album "Violently Nice" out in Toronto, and some of it here as well. So that was a great get. We're really happy to have him on. We got, I think the biggest thing for this year is the amount of sponsorships that we got, because we have the Rec Room sponsoring our Drunk Improv show with Stanley Braxton. So
did you say Drunken Craft Show?
Well, if it's craft beer, we may get on those. We're going to be having a drunken improv show at the LSPU Hall on August 15th. So all of the performances will be under the influence, and one of our performers will stay sober the entire time. That's sponsored by the Rec Room. And then on the following night, on the Friday night,
we just got to stop for some. This sounds amazing. Yeah. At the LSPU Hall?
On paper, yeah. No, we've done it before. We loved the format, so we thought this is the right time to do it. Yeah, we'll all be getting drunk at an improv show and trying to make up theater on the spot. And that's just one of the shows. There's the Unpossible Stand-Up Challenge Final Gala on the Tuesday. I'm going to host that. Then on the Wednesday is the Nickel Film Festival's Comedy Challenge, and groups got together to make a sketch in just a matter of weeks and film it and edit it. And then on the Thursday, like I said, the improv show. Then on the Friday night is the All-Star Women in Comedy. That features Sarah Walsh, Veronica Diamond, and Nicole Downton as well. And that's sponsored by Atlantic Lotto. Shout out to Atlantic Lotto for also.
When you said you wanted to come talk about the comedy festival, I thought we were going to talk about comedy. I didn't know we were going to talk about everybody that gave you money.
Oh, we're gonna praise them to the highest heaven, because they're wonderful organizations and people, so generous with their time and money. Thank you. God bless you. We can't do it without you.
Okay, what are dates again? LSPU Hall?
August 13th to 17th at the LSPU Hall,
and they can get tickets
at BraxtonComedyFestival.com.
Absolutely amazing, Chris. Thank you very much. Good luck at the festival. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, Jim, Amanda. Some happy ladies. A
Very much
broken
so.
oar snapped right off. What a savage. So clearly very excited crew, very proud of themselves. A lot of work that goes into that, and the celebration henceforth coming now this evening. Now, the boys, Fine Strokes, NTV, Belfour, the remaining two.
We got Smith Stockley crew and
Smith-Stockley.
Regatta Petroleum Consulting.
Yeah, so it's an exact replica of race number 3 this morning at 8 a.m. Not like the women's crew. We saw the crew that was 6th place at time trials make their way in. So we're going to set up this race now.
So we got on stake 1, we got the Miss Tubular, Craig Whittle Coxon, James Cadigan, Dan Cadigan.
The Cadigans.
The Cadigans.
And then on stake 2, in the Cougar helicopter is...
Where are we to?
Oh, that is Belfour, right?
Yeah, on stake 2, yeah.
Coxswain Kenneth King, stroke Eric King, Jamie Travers, Steve Sweeney, Nick Dunn, Kenny King, and Chris Sweeney.
Stake 3, we got the Jerry Angel, Dean Hammond, Chris Roach, Dexter Decker, Donnie Decker, Frank Norris, Blaine Edwards, and Eddie Shear.
And on stake number 4 in the Iceberg Gold, the Smith-Stockley crew with stroke Paul Huzzy, Cox and Gord Delaney, and the other rowers in that boat, Adam Shea, Chris Quinton, Zach Meany, Kieran Hawksley, and number 1, Ian Power, spares Matthew Manning and Ian Janes.
And then rounding out into the 5th, Cox and Jim Ring, stroke Perry Doran, the rest of the boys in the boat, Brian Healy, Joe McGrath, Trevor King, Dale Kearley, and it says Jonathan Houlihan. I personally know John, and he busted his knee. He's not rowing.
Oh, so they have a spare in the
either
boat.
Gerard or Gary Squires are filling in for Houlihan. I'm not sure which one, and I learned this up to the minute on Facebook.
Well,
so,
you heard it here first, folks.
Exactly. Houlihan is out.
Yeah, and he's somebody who's probably trained all year for this.
All year long.
This is this is a sad day for him.
Absolutely. I mean, personally, of course, you're obviously devastated.
Yeah.
But your team is still there. If the team wins, he still won.
Yep.
He got here.
Yep.
Like that's not.
No,
you know,
that's
you're
exactly
not.
right.
Everybody gets a medal. Everybody raises the trophy.
Yeah.
Unless you can't stand on your bum knee, and then.
Unless you got a bad leg. We just saw walking down in front of the screen there, NTV rower Blaine Edwards. I'd like to just take a moment and wish Blaine Edwards, Heather Gillis, a big congratulations. They'll be getting married strategically timed just a couple weeks after the regatta. So we saw Heather with the Daw and Burke crew. And of course, Blaine Edwards here with definitely top 3 men's crew. So big
That's
congratulations to them.
Yeah, both of them rowing the championship race, and you heard it here first on Rogers.
ET people, this is
we're going to be switching over after this.
We're going to have to change the name of this program.
Ben Mulrooney's going to come down and
That's true.
get in on all our scoop.
Well, yeah, I mean, one prime minister's son was here earlier today. No reason another one can't be.
True enough.
That's going to put the 201st regatta in the record books for a different reason. That hullabaloo was happening when Justin Trudeau was here. I mean, they swept the boathouse. It was just
so many firsts here at the 201st. I mean, we've got this new winter circle, the entire docking area. I took a walk earlier up towards the beer tent. Did not go in. I'm at work. I did not.
You can tell us.
I didn't. It doesn't leave this winter circle. Nobody else. You can keep it to yourself. I walked up around, and the way they have everything terraced like it used to be, as you're going down the side of the regatta, constantly. But now there's room to move.
There's room to move, and the terracing allows for a greater view of the races.
Absolutely. And speaking to Mayor Breen earlier this afternoon, or late this morning rather, this is phase 1. There's a long-term beautification project.
Yes. And and for a lot of your viewers home today, years ago it'd be frustrating because you couldn't see the full length of the pond. But in recent years, at the top of the pond, if you can make it to the top of the pond and see the start and the finish, which is, a lot of times the most exciting, with the drone footage we're having there now, there's a huge jumbotron screen up at the top of the boathouse that you can follow the whole race and not move from the top of the pond. So a lot of people that I know that's coming down here, some for the first time, they've been really impressed with that vantage point up there and what that huge jumbo screen has to offer. So people who haven't come down for a while, there's a lot more anemones up here to allow you to see and enjoy these races a lot more than you could say 4 or 5 years ago.
And that regatta committee, I think, that we're working with now is just bringing this regatta into the modern age, the digital age, with the drone footage and the live updates. You can download the program now from the website. We're using VeraBook now to book spins. I mean, I don't know if you were around in the chalkboard days when that was how your spin got booked, but then they went to the phone-in system, and now it's on the World Wide Web.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot of improvements, a whole lot of things that have been going on. I want to take another quick moment just to talk about some of the people who have personally made our lives a little bit easier today. Obviously, I don't know if everybody who's watching knows, when you see a production put off by Rogers Television, whether it's the Royal St. John's Regatta, whether it's a Newfoundland Growlers game or St. John's Edge, or even when you see me or one of my co-hosts on Out of the Fog, we're run almost exclusively by volunteers. So a huge thank you to the tens and tens and tens of people who have been out here all day long for 12 or 14 hours helping to put this broadcast together for everybody at home who's watching and everybody who might be watching it on live on YouTube or on Facebook, and also to some of our sponsors, Anglican East NL as a large sponsor who's also involved with the Rehome store, and again the Home Depot, who tossed us a barbecue that we could give away down at
Who
the
won the
Ignite
barbecue?
House. We're not done yet.
Oh,
we're not. Look
still
around.
selling
We're not
tickets?
done yet.
We're not selling tickets. It's a
Giving
free
them
draw to
away.
enter.
Giving
Win
them
the
away.
barbecue.
Yeah, and of course to the Spirit of Newfoundland for some delicious food. Did either of you have the mac and cheese?
I did.
You did? Did you try the
missed-
shepherd's pie?
I missed out.
Jim, why are you even here?
I was cooking hamburgers and hot dogs for the grandchildren.
That's fair. That's fair.
He
That's
has a
fair.
beautiful camper boil up. This is a bit of a tradition for your family, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I rekindled an old family tradition about 4 years ago, and it's home base for the grandkids and the kids when they come down here, and they come down and they walk around the regatta grounds and they come back and have a feed, and if the kids want to lie down in the tent or whatever, they just lie down. So
And that's sort of
it's a great family.
what the regatta is.
Yeah.
That's what
Is
the
it
regatta
not?
is about.
Yeah. So you're tailgating.
Absolutely.
The family version.
I went to, while we're waiting, I mean, we're telling stories here and everybody's in a great mood. The boys are getting into the boats. They're going to go line up and warm up now shortly. I went to see an NFL game in Buffalo. It was a record-setting game in that almost 2 feet of snow fell during the game. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the NFL doesn't have a set of rules. There's no protocol to stop a game for snow. There's no rule where you can stop. They can for rain because it can if there's lightning, just like soccer. But there's no rule to stop a game for snow.
Same thing with the Royal St. John's Regatta.
Exactly. it's just wind. It's
Snow
just wind.
won't stop it. It's just wind.
Snow has not stopped us
it.
in the past. Yeah. May and June, they're called January for a reason.
January,
Yeah.
exactly. And the tailgating was still as though, I mean, it could have been a hot summer's day.
It's just tradition, and years ago, below the boathouse here, and a lot of the viewers home that used to come down to the races, there was a dead-end road that would be lined up with cars and campers and Jig's Dinner on the Boil, and you'd find it all over the banks of Kitty Vitty Lake, and those traditions. It was the time where people in their busy workday would hook up, meet family and friends they probably haven't seen since last regatta day.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so it just became, and especially back years ago when you had, crews from Torbay, Outer Cove, Blackhead, all coming in, to Balleen, Portugal Cove, Outer Cove, Kitty Vitty, all coming here. They'd meet each other throughout the season, I guess, rowing. And the rowing season was probably fairly short back then. I think the boats went on the water like mid-June or something like that. Or
I really love that story that people often tell about the one day the regatta ran long, but to get through the championship races, they had everybody, all the cars line up.
turn on the headlights.
What year was that? Or what decade? 70s? 60s?
I actually want to say, and I can be correct because Paul Ring may know this,
I'm sure he
I
will.
think it's as recently as mid to late 70s.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Because I got a distinct memory of cars being asked to go down at the bottom of the pond in that parking lot and shine their headlights so that they can see the boys going down the pond.
Amazing.
So that may be as recent as the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll put that out to anybody who may have an answer to that. But
Yeah.
Tweet at us.
Yeah.
Jim's personal cell phone number is.
Call any hour.
No, that was my old job.
So we see here the NTV men just getting warmed up. The blue uniforms looking really sharp out there tonight. Dean's in the black. In the boat, you've got Donnie and Dexter Decker. So working together at NTV, rowing together. They're also brothers. Here is the drone that we were talking about earlier. And I'm going to take this opportunity to plug Cloudbreaker. The company operating this drone is owned by my friend Chris LeGros, who's also an Air Canada pilot. And his friend John Sturge, who has lots of experience on the film and production side. those guys do an amazing job of getting beautiful footage. We're so lucky to have them
And we can
working
see an
with us.
example of some of that beautiful footage now as it rounds the pond. You see the light coming down. It's such a clean swoop. Myself and a business partner of mine, we have a media production company. We do drone footage, and I can tell you for a fact how clean a line this is when you're chasing these guys down, you're keeping it steady, that not anybody can do that.
Yeah.
So the fact that he is an actual pilot, that doesn't surprise you.
Yeah. But your viewing audience can see that this is really good pond conditions to race on, and
Ideal.
the air is a little bit cool, and which is phenomenal for racing. Cool breeze or a cool air is great for getting that good air down in the lungs. So I'm expecting a real good race here now in a few minutes.
You see the NTV guys, they're one of the first ones to settle in here. We're talking about how they really have a shot to pick up into second place here. What's in the head? What's the stage now? It's a championship racer. As a rower, what are you doing?
I think that you're going to see the NTV boys go out and try and race as aggressively as they can, and just hang on. If they can get a lead and they can hang on to it for the last quarter, then great. But they don't want to leave anything out here. It's going to be an aggressive start, I'd say, is my thought.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And one of the things, all of those crews are going to be concentrating on is a clean, aggressive start. Because if you have a misfire or you row shallow oars, you're not going to be able to get that boat speed up the way you need it. And if you fall behind quickly at this level of race, it's going to be, even though it's a men's course or the male course, it's or the full course.
Good evening, ladies
It's
and
going to
gentlemen.
be
Just an update on process for the prizes
total.
and presentations.
It's hard
We're
to
going
make up that
present the
time.
medals and trophy for both the male and female championship race. Once the male
So just an
championship race
announcement
is
around
complete, just
behind
so
us
everyone focuses
from
on
the
presentation
Royal
area.
St.
So
John's
if I could
Regatta
ask
Committee,
all
because
crews,
people at
just
home are
female
always
crews to
wondering
stay in the
about the
area,
presentations
and
of the
we'll get
trophies
started
and the
in that
medals.
process as
So
soon as we can.
this year
Thank
they're
you
going to
for
do
your
them all
patience.
together. So they're going to have the women's races done. Now they're going to have the men rowing. And then when both championship races are done, they're going to give out the medals. So looking at that wind right there now, it's, I'd say, going straight up the pond, but nothing over 10 kilometers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely nothing over 10 kilometers. And again, the direction of the wind is equally fair for all 5 crews. Sometimes you get a crosswind where you'll give an advantage to a crew on the inside or the outside, depending on the direction. But this pond here this evening is absolutely beautiful and great for racing, and is equally spread right across.
And I think that sort of, in some ways, gives a little bit of an accidental advantage to third or fourth or fifth in the time trials, in that having to select their stake and their boat last, now they're not being as big an effect.
That's correct. That's very true. And
there's something to be said for NTV from that standpoint.
Can we get a reminder of which crew's on which stake, just so as we're looking over it?
So on stake 1, at the top of your screen, we have Fine Strokes Plaster and Painting Limited, Craig Whittle. On stake 2, in the Cougar, we have Belfour. On stake 3, in the Jerry Angel, we have NTV. On stake 4, in the Iceberg Gold, we have Smith Stockley. And on stake 5, in the Pomerleau, we have Regatta Petroleum Consulting.
Right, and we just saw, of course, Craig Whittle cox the high flow hydraulic women to a very exciting championship. Then he hot-seated, which is what it's called when you go right from one race to the next.
Craig is a busy guy today.
He's a busy guy into the coxswain seat of Fine Strokes. So, yeah, very exciting. So they're about to get started at any moment.
You can feel the intensity here now. And what a beautiful shot. The sun is starting to set. Everybody's lined up. The pond is so still, and here we go.
Start your watch.
So the last championship race of the day just started, and it looks like all crews got off to a real strong start.
Smith Stockley, impressively so, I would say. So those first 4 stakes, that is so tight right now.
The other bit about technology from a rower's and coxswain's perspective is now there are apps you can get to download on your phone, and if you can take your phone in the boat, and it gives you all the same information that you would see if you're on an ergometer or a rowing machine. So the coxswain can feed back to the crew as they're performing, as they're rowing, what their splits are, so what their average boat speed is, what their stroke rate is, and I think Jim is going to try and get some stroke rates on some of the crews here now. And they have that information, so they know, at various points in the race if they're above or below the targets, or well, the coxswain knows anyway, and so.
I mean, as they come across the marquee here and they come across the boathouse, we're pretty tight.
Yep.
Yeah, the Fine Strokes definitely got a half-length lead over Belfour, but as expected, Belfour is in second, but NTV, and I quickly got their stroke rate in the first 30 seconds, and as we anticipated, you called it, Amanda, NTV went out with 40 stroke rate. So they sprinted out of the blocks pretty fast, and it looks like they, now it's just going to be
tight.
who's the conditioning is going to hold.
And how clean they can get around that turn. I mean, you saw in the latest championship race.
Yeah.
That was all of the difference for second place.
Yeah. So Fine Strokes, like once they got out of the blocks, like they settled into a 34 rate. So they were maintaining a lead with a 34 rate, and they're ahead of NTV and Belfour, who NTV went out with a 40 rate.
So this caliber of rowing, these races aren't won in July, August. This is one when you're putting in the hours in January, February, March. So with this 5 teams, this caliber of rowing, that's the kind of commitment you're getting. Great shot there, going through the half course, boys. Fine Strokes out in front, followed by Belfour, NTV, and then
Smith-Stockley.
NTV and Smith-Stockley, I believe in Belfort. I mean, they're all very, very tight here.
Yeah, Smith-Stockley they're not letting NTV go. So the big strategy now, or question is that did NTV go out too fast? And
will they have anything left?
But they, there's some race strategies, and I rode on them a couple of times where you got beat in the morning and beat in the afternoon, and as a crew you collectively say, you got to get down with them, and we got to holler across and go into the bear tent where we're going across, but you got to get down with them, and because once you get down and turn, if you turn with a crew, there's just that adrenaline rush that you get that will get you back to pond every time. But it's when you come off the turn and you're looking at the rudder of another crew, it's the water gets heavy.
And when you're going for a championship, like a tie's not good enough.
The water gets heavy, your legs start to feel like they want to fall off, your arms go numb, things stop working.
Everything starts burning.
Yeah.
But it looks like, as predicted, barring anything drastic, Fine Strokes are they're in a good lead here now. They open water, but NTV, if you look at it,
that is very, very close.
And Belfour, they are neck and neck here.
And again, let's just appreciate like the beauty of where we live here. Like not just a shot of the race, but let's look at our landscape to appreciate where we are, what we're a part of. 201 years of this.
And also give some credit to Gerard Duran's son, who's a stroke of the 5th place team here.
With Jim Ringsteer and Regatta Petroleum Consulting.
Exactly. So they're going to be ones to have your eye on in the future for sure.
So, but it looks at that screen there now, Smith-Stockley and NTV are fighting it out for second place, and Belfour has just slipped back just slightly.
And we see the cut there starting by Fine Strokes.
Yeah, so they're a little bit ahead. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I love this
shot.
footage. Yeah.
This is such a good shot. And look how tight this is. Okay, so I mean...
Belfour's in, NTV are in.
NTV.
So we're watching now to see how close the boats stay to the kegs.
And the time coming out. I mean, the guys are all the way out now, and we're at 4:44.
So NTV and Belfour are coming out pretty well, neck and neck.
Woo!
Maybe 8 feet, 10 feet separating.
NTV looks like they may have picked up a little bit of time on that turn.
Yeah, that was a tight turn.
Yeah.
Good job, Dean.
So they're on their way back home. 5:06 on the clock. As you can see, beautiful rowing conditions.
So this is the third quarter of the men's race now. So the first quarter is the start to the half-course kegs. Second quarter, half-course kegs down to the bottom. Third quarter is from the bottom to the half-course kegs again. And this is sometimes what they call, especially in the men's races, no man's land.
No man's land.
It's because you can't hear anyone, you don't have that beer tent cheering you on, and you're just wondering, Why did you sign up for this?
Everything hurts. You're sucking
I
air.
actually signed up to do this. Right?
Yeah. I can't believe I volunteered. And in some cases, people are paying so that this can happen.
Actually, and the M5 team did a lot of work last year with sports psychologists to actually, when those thoughts come in, because they do, and when your body is hurting that much, and you're trying to perform and you want them out, and we worked with things like positive affirmations, visualization, lots of techniques. I think that you'll see a lot of the crews starting to use.
For sure.
And again, I mean, you look at NTV here and Belfort, that's a little tighter again.
Yeah, so both of those crews have gone head-to-head the last 2 years, and it's going to be interesting to see who's in the lead going through the ladies' kegs, because last year in Placentia, NTV had about a half-length lead on Belfort coming through the ladies' kegs, and with a minute left, they still had the half-boat length, and Belfort upped their rate and rode through them and squeezed out the championship race in Placentia. So you talk about race plans and lessons learned. If NTV holds on to this slight lead and they get towards the boathouse, they're going to remember what Belfort did last year. So it should be interesting to see if they're going to change their race strategy to be able to go with them.
I do know, based on the Herald article I read this week, is that since that race that you just talked about in Placentia, where Belfort edged out NTV by just about a second when they thought they had the race, they printed out a big screen image of the finish of that race where they had just lost to Belfort. They pinned it up in color in front of all of their 6 ergometer training machines, and they looked at that day in, day out. You know they don't want that to repeat here.
So you needn't worry with the coxswain now, Dean Hammond, with NTV, that he's not reminding those fellas right now that, listen, this race is yours for second place. You just got to go take it, and don't let no one take it. So right now, their destiny is basically in their own hands, I think. But Belfort looks like they're coming on strong, and they have the ability to go up with that race. Now, obviously, NTV also demonstrated they can roll rate because they took off at about a 40 stroke rate. But they're looking really strong there now.
Great shot of fine strokes there. James Cadigan is one of the changes, because last year when Brent Hickey was in the boat, he would have been in the stroke seat.
That's correct. James bumped up to stroke oar.
As they're coming across in front of the boathouse here, we can get a great view looking out from the winner's circle, and you can see how smooth, and you can get it's hard to watch sometimes on film to appreciate how quick these boats are cutting through the water.
You know something, Jason, when you hit the marquee, that's usually about a 50-second, depending on the crew, 40-second warning. So they're close to potentially breaking 9 minutes.
Woo! Smoking.
That's intense.
I love it.
So as you can tell now, Belfort, they upped their race, and they just rode NTV, and so it looks like Belfort will hold on to second place, and NTV third.
That's certainly how it looks from all angles. And then coming up in fourth is Smith Stockley and the Regatta crew.
Won't quite break 9, but man, is that ever tight.
Oh, they might be under their time from this morning. Yeah, it's because they were 9:07 this morning.
Yeah,
so
that's a great time. You know the boys are incredibly happy with that. And now, of course, the fight that we had been talking about since prior to this race starting, coming in now in second, NTV not quite able to push it through.
Oh, they're exhausted.
Yeah.
That was a
well, that was a grind back to pond. No one could get any movement on each other, and I think the movement happened in the last minute and a half of that race. Incredible race to watch, and we're watching the other two crews coming in.
And the fitness and just the sheer determination and the difference between maybe some of the crews who have been rowing together a little bit longer, because coming up to the turn, just like in your second quarter, the second half of the second quarter, Smith Stockley was right there with NTV and with Belfort, and then coming out of the turn and coming back down, I get that grit.
Well, it's grit, and the other thing too is that it was obvious that Belfort didn't really beat NTV on the run down the pond, which was so they did what they wanted to do. They got down with them, and just that obviously Belfort, maybe it was their training program, and having confidence that they were able to beat them before,
Yeah.
I think that goes right through a crew.
And NTV came out of the gate, like you said, with like a 40 stroke rate.
And but they, the thing with it is they settled and they beat it. They rode with them down the pond, and they actually come off the turn with them. So it was basically in that between. I would say with just because coming through the ladies' kegs, it was neck and neck.
Still pretty tight. Yeah.
So it looks like in that fourth quarter, Belfort had a stronger fourth quarter.
So was that fast start by NTV detrimental? Did they run out?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'll be quite honest with you now. I need to see the split time. And maybe it was the third quarter that they lost their time or Belfort got the edge. Because once you get through those ladies' kegs with you get through a half a length, that water starts to get heavier to try to catch. And Belfort, with their ability to row that aggressive race at a high race, obviously it got them the edge that they needed to come in second place. But a great race overall.
Yeah, and just like the women did, these guys now are taking their victory lap. They're taking their time to shine after not only they have put in the hours of blood, sweat, and tears, but also their families. Another season of rowing is another season of, call it commitment, call it sacrifice, call it investment, but it's something, and it takes a lot of heart and soul, that's for sure.
So, and I mean, you guys would know. I mean, obviously, it's hard on your mind and your body and your emotions to train for 3/4 of the year for something that's either 5.5 or 10 minutes long or whatever the case is. Obviously, it's hard on the athlete, but there's a toll on the family. I mean,
true
it's
enough.
a huge commitment.
Yeah. There's back years ago, I'm part of a folk arts group called the Outer Cove Concert Crowd, or the Concert Crowd, and we put in the early 1990s, we put out a cassette. It's called The Day of the Races, and there was a few original tunes written on that cassette, and one of them was The Rower's Widow. So it just speaks to the time away from home, and that was back in the era when the rowing was predominantly men, but it's all the same now.
Actually, the Concert Crowd did a couple years ago. They did they did a show like around March about rowing.
We put off a show the first Saturday of March.
Yeah.
At the Arts and Culture Center, and it was centered around getting ready. Some of the crew, some of the singers, and they were acting as a play that associated with it, and it was all about going down to the races and the girls' crew and how they wanted to row and their time, the commitment, and their blistered derrieres and everything else. And it was a fun show.
You know what? Some of those fictional characters seem pretty real life to me. I think I could recognize a few of them.
Oh, there's a few around here actually this evening.
You guys really aren't selling rowing as a sport to the young generation with your blistered derrieres.
Oh, not only your blistered derrieres, also your hands get ripped up.
Yeah.
I remember when I was out rowing in one and sitting in the tubular, there's a bit too much wood for if we want to get our maximum leg drive. So when I get to the end of my seat, my lower back is up against the wood.
Which is obviously comfortable.
Which is not comfortable. So it's not only, blisters and tears in your skin, but also bruising. And I know we have Adam Kavanagh, who's back there on number one in fine strokes this year, but last year it was Colin Stapleton. Colin's a tall guy. He had the same problem as I did. So we used to have to put, here you go, Jason, here's the story for you.
I got it.
Foam, like a layer of foam
yeah.
down in the back of our spandex to create like a little cushion in between our back, and that wooden thing I would be slamming into for the whole race.
So these boys here now, they're doing their victory lap.
Bounce forward.
They're doing their victory lap. They're waving to the crowd.
Yeah.
And it's almost, it's hard to believe that there's, are you on pure adrenaline here now? I mean, they poured out everything that was in them then for 9 minutes, and they're still rolling around in circles.
There's a huge amount of satisfaction that goes with this, and like I said before, when we led into the ladies' championship race, they're just the 5 crews that made it to this far. It's a moment for them to just soak up and suck the energy out of the audience and enjoy it, because everybody is down here to watch them row. And so enjoy the moment, enjoy the evening, enjoy the smells, enjoy the cheers. Just soak it all up. Feel
the buzz of the drone.
Yeah.
The buzz
of the drone.
Feel the buzz of the drone. Wonder why somebody left all of the fluorescent lights on.
It's so true, though. Like, this is what you work for. This is what makes it all count. They've got so many supporters on the bank watching them. And, you know, not only friends and family, but also coworkers, like people's employers get really into this. And I think that's how a lot of sponsors are born, actually.
Yeah.
Like I know Geotech, Steve Finney, he's a former rower. Dean Hammond is an employee of his. Big participation in the rower in the regatta as a coxswain the last few years. And I saw Geotech had a team in this year, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get involved in this from a sponsorship side and get my real estate business plugged.
There
if
you
I'm going
go.
to be down here all day long, I should be getting something out of this. Should get some
And on
business out of
stake
this.
one.
On stake one, it is my crew. There's a discount on my real estate services if they win.
Yeah. And I may stand corrected, Amanda, but I think this is the first. James Ketting has won a few championships over his years. I think this is the first time he's won one as stroke oar.
Oh, and that's a good trivia fact to ask Mark, because he would know.
Yeah. I think that's the first one that he's won, because every time he's rowed, I could be wrong, but I think when Brent Hickey's here, Brent stroked, and well, I might be wrong, but
yeah, we should ask.
I have a question to pose for ones like yourselves who would understand rowing, coaching, coxing. How large a role in the success of a team and the training of a team does the coxswain play? Because Craig Whittle won 2 championships here today, and that can't be a coincidence.
Well, I'll just take a shot at that one first, and then we'll hear from Jimmy. But lots of crews take it different ways. So you'll see in some of the midget juvenile crews, you have a coxswain playing the role of coxswain, coach, manager. They're the all-around everything. But then I think a lot of teams at these higher levels especially, they have a designated coxswain and they have a designated coach. So the coach sets a program, and the main role of the coxswain is to execute. What would you say?
You're absolutely right. The good thing, like the Mark Haywards of the world and the Craig Whittles of the world, like they're rowers, and sometimes a coach is watching things from the bank, but a coxswain can see things as a rower, and they can tell if a person is rowing shallow, if the timing is off a little tiny bit, or they know enough about the rowing cycle that they can actually create or coach while steering and fix things on the water. And then when
Call
they get
an audible, be on the
absolutely,
fly,
because
have that
they can
technical
pick up
knowledge, yeah.
when something is off. A coxswain who's rowed and rowed at elite levels can pick up on things quicker and almost can tell what's going on with it.
Yeah, so in that way then, the coxswains and the coaches also become a team in their own.
Yeah.
They are a unit. They're working together because, as we just heard, the coxswains can make technical calls on the water to fix things immediately of things that the coach might see on the bank. So I know when I rowed with OzFM, Jim and Ken would be on the walkie-talkies, relaying things to our coxswain to say. So the coaches are feeding things to the coxswain to say, and sometimes, you know, vice versa, the coxswain might feed back to the coach. You know, this is how the boat felt today. It was down on bow side, down on stroke side. So it becomes a real, like, a team effort.
Now we've got, there's a lot going on here now. Of course, all our championship races are done for the day. We're getting ready for awards presentation. And all of these people seem to have gathered, and I have a feeling they're not here to look at us, guys.
No, I don't think so.
But there is a buzz down here at the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta. Up till this point, I mean, we've only been hanging out for 10 or 15 minutes, right? But we appreciate your attention. We're really grateful here at Rogers Television that we have the opportunity to be able to have these conversations with you and give this information to you if you weren't able to come down and watch it for yourselves. And I would like to take this moment to thank you both.
You're welcome.
Without the experience and the knowledge and the know-how, it mostly would have been me up here trying to make jokes, and most of them not landing.
Oh, thank you for your leadership.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
Just before we go, I'm going to tell a little story about the Kim Sterling Memorial Trophy, because it is absolutely beautiful. That was donated by the Sterling family. Kim Sterling was a young girl who loved rowing. She tragically lost her life in a car accident, but even only after being in rowing for 3 or 4 years, she knew she loved it that much. She said, just ironically by chance, happened to mention to a family member, when I die, this is what I want, this is where I want my headstone to be. So the Sterling Kim Sterling's headstone is directly across the finish line, from the finish line. So last year after the regatta, the M5 crew went and took a walk just to kind of honor Kim Sterling, the Sterling family, all of their commitment to the regatta, and it's such a beautiful story. It's not just a trophy, it's a legacy of women's rowing, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it.
What a remarkable story.
Yeah.
I did not
I was
know
holding
that.
out on you till the end of the day.
You saved that one.
You were holding on to that one.
Oh, it's a nugget. It's just a beautiful, beautiful story.
I think that, I mean, obviously everybody who's listening here today is interested in the sport of rowing. You're interested in the legacy, the history of the Royal St. John's Regatta. Little stories like that make up those kind of things, and I think that would be, this is the second one now, I think that would be a great story that we could put together when the season rolls around and have that conversation on Out of the Fog.
Why
would
do I have
love
a feeling
to tell
we're
that
going to
story.
be on Out of the Fog, Jim?
I would absolutely love to have that story on Out of the Fog. No, we can go down and we can visit and we can have that conversation. That is a legacy piece that I think the entire regatta community should know. Like I was here all year. I did not know that.
I actually only learned that. I knew about the Kim Sterling Memorial Trophy, but I only knew those aspects of the story last year in the 200th when the Sterling family talked about it, and they kind of told the story in anticipation of the 200th regatta. So such a beautiful, heartwarming story.
Oh, for sure. And they've been such strong supporters of the Royal St. John's Regatta over.
Of course, OzFM, quite the legacy of championships with Key and Tech, and also the NTV crew. So it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And TV also doing a pretty good job with collaborating also with some of the technical stuff in this broadcast. So NTV's killing it all around.
Yeah, they've been our neighbors all day in the technical
like I said,
trucks.
It's a real big family affair.
Yep.
I will say that I personally feel like our lunch that was catered by the Spirit of Newfoundland was better than what I saw NTV eating. And it's okay. Listen, Eddie, you got us great weather for this. I'm perfectly fine with that. We're not fighting. Everything's cool. Just saying. Thank you, Spirit of Newfoundland.
Let's talk about your dunk tank experience, shall we?
Oh my goodness, my dunk tank experience. So it was cold. It was very cold. I made the mistake of wearing a white t-shirt.
Oh.
So there were a lot of nipples to be seen. Oh, there we go.
Awesome.
And this is me. I'm getting out. I'm all dressed. I'm ready to go. You can see that it is rather chilly. That's the man before me. I believe is MHA Paul Din. Now I'm getting ready, and I believe what we're about to see is there's a young girl who was the very first person to throw some of these in. There I go.
So tell us about the great cause that you're doing this for.
This is for young adult cancer.
Canada.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, that would be me being frozen, and then she comes up and she gets me again. And she's having a hard time with it. Oh, one more, honey. There you go. And then I'm splashed in. Of course, Young Adult Cancer Canada. Jeff
they're putting
Eaton.
more ice water in on you.
Well, no, that's actually pond water. And it was rather warm because the two gentlemen who were in just before me were larger, and I mean, like much taller than me, and splashed a lot. So a lot of water got come out.
You just lost a vote there.
A lot of the water just got splashed out. So they had to refill a little bit, and there I go again. And I'm not joking. That is some cold water. But Young Adult Cancer Canada, Jeff Beaton, they do a lot of really, really good work. They help out with a lot of people who are not having a great time. There's a lot more research and money that goes towards child cancer diagnosis, and sometimes you get that forgotten bit of people who are under 40, over 20, and so it's nice to be a part of that.
Fantastic.
So back again here now, Lakeside. So you guys are in the dunk tank there next year, correct? Obviously, Amanda, you're good for. Heard it right here. Amanda's good for the dunk tank. So Diana's going to line up. We're going to talk to some championship rowers here in a little bit. I don't know if we're going to get them before they get their medals or we're going to get them afterwards.
I think they're going to get them before.
I think it would be great to get them before, and then we can all sit back and we can watch the display, the celebration. One of my favorite things is to see the family members come in with them, the kids holding the medals and raising the trophies, and that's the legacy that we see. That's why you have family names in rowing,
That's
I think.
exactly right. And like I said, for the viewers, one of the two last races of the day, you had the Hydes and you had the Cadigans and you had
Barringtons
the Barringtons, and so like they're third and fourth generation, or maybe further, you know. So is incredible to see families continuing to support the sport and contribute to the sport. So it's wonderful.
Where are the rest of the carols?
Well, my daughter rode
in the hot dog tent.
their hot dog tent. My daughter rode, my son rode.
They're all tailgating.
Yeah, they're all tailgating. My sister rode.
I'm gonna join.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go tailgate with Jimmy's family here now in a little bit. As soon as actually, I might just. You guys.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, they're down on the
My dad rode in his day. He rode from Placentia, like Diana.
All the way from Placentia. He
Yeah.
must have been some tired when he got here.
He rode into over to Overpass.
Out of fog in Placentia Bay and all the way over, yeah.
Now, I've known your father a long while.
I know.
And I did not know he rode.
He did for a couple years out in Placentia.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember. And then when I started to row as a kid, I rode with some of his co-workers' daughters. So that was Sarah Cal, and her uncle was Perry Cal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and our coxswain, my first coxswain ever was Pop Cal. Mike Cal.
Yeah.
So God rest his soul. He was a tremendous first coxswain. Yeah.
Another gentleman of the sport.
Oh, and the Cal is another big family, and like we just saw, Anne-Marie Tobin's niece was in the sport crew.
So it appears as though we're getting ready for some announcement here.
Excellent.
We've got medals lined up. Are we going to issue the ladies or the men's first? Probably the ladies, given that their race concluded
I
first.
would say so, but it seems that the men are congregating behind us, so it's a mystery.
Well, they're just trying to take over. I mean, sometimes we do that, and we really shouldn't. This is not the moment for us.
But we've lost Diana.
What I would like to do now, if I could take a moment before some of these announcements, I would like to ask Julia, who is our volunteer coordinator. I don't know if everybody knows it. This is put off almost exclusively by volunteers, and I think that you, as the person who organizes that whole thing, it would be lovely for the entire world to know how grateful you are.
It's totally amazing. We have the world's wonderful volunteers, and we're so happy.
How many people do we have here?
About 30, 35 people
Wow.
here today working on
Rotating
this live,
shifts, in and out,
like
in and out.
12-hour. Right?
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and,
incredible.
we
And I want to
thank
thank you.
Oh,
Oh
no,
my
I want to
goodness.
thank you, and I want to thank Amanda. All these commentators that are here today: Diana, Jim, and Jackie. Guys did an amazing job. Thanks
Well,
a million.
thank you very much.
Yes,
And so
thank
did you. Now, with some winners announcements, some conversations, off to Diana.
All right, so I am here now with the 2019 Male Championship winner team, and I have the coxswain here, Craig Whittle. Craig, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Congratulations. So we missed you for the women's race. I just want to make a note that Craig, I think if I got it right, is the second coxswain in regatta history to win both the male and female championship race. Is that correct?
That's right. I think Hayward told me, so he knows all the stuff.
Mark Hayward told me, so he knew also. Just going to get you guys to introduce yourselves.
Mark Hayward, number 2.
Mark Perry, number 4.
Adam Kavanagh, number 1.
Dan Cadigan.
Colin Stapleton.
James Cadigan.
All right, so they didn't really need any introduction because everyone is familiar with these guys. Great role this evening. Talk to me about it.
What was our official time?
What was your official time? I will find that out for you.
Row
9:04, I think. Yeah.
Oh, the row was good. You know, we go after this morning. We wanted to push hard to get down faster, and you know, hang on because we knew with the tailwind we'd come back fast. So we just kept pressing the whole way and building rate and building pressure, and hanging on for dear life.
So is this your first time with this group?
No, I used to row with the boys for years, but first time cox in the group. Go ahead.
No, just wondering, so how was that response from going to a team member? I mean, your team member's a coxswain too, but, going from a coxswain rower to a coxswain with them.
That was pretty easy, and all great friends of mine anyhow, so, it was just, rowing clean. We all had the same mindset on how we wanted to row. And for calls in the race, I know him personally, so it wasn't hard to get stuff out that to push them harder,
So I've interviewed a lot of these guys over the years many times, but never with all the little ones. So Mark, talk to me because you have 2.
I have 2 girls. This is Veronica, and I have a year-and-a-half-old named Ruth. Well, a lot of us have kids in this boat, as you can tell, 4 of us. So it's kind of a testament to the commitment to the boys here to make sure that family comes first, and we always get the workouts in no matter what, and we wouldn't be here without support from the family.
We talked about that with the ladies winners earlier. We certainly see a sense of it. The Cadigans are a bit slow.
Yeah, they're too busy.
Not in the boat, but with baby.
They're busy winning championships,
Okay,
babies.
ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
we're
so
gonna
guys,
get started with the
congratulations. I'm going to ask you to
presentation
hang
of
around. We're going to do the
medals
medal
and
presentations. Great
trophies.
job. All right, excellent.
So welcome
we're gonna
everybody
send
to
it now back
the
to
championship race and medal presentation
Okay,
of the
so
201st
we're ready
running of the
for
Royal St.
medal
John's Regatta.
presentations here now. Second,
An exceptional
so
day
this
and
is
just some
exciting
outstanding
times.
results for
I
the
think what we'll
championship
do
race. Similar
is
to
we'll
last
give
year, we're
an
going to take
opportunity to our
approach,
announcer.
and just to
We'll let our
maximize what
audience
we have left
see
on
medals
air
getting
time, we're going to
distributed.
present the
This is a
female
pretty
championship
remarkable thing.
results and
We've
medal
heard
and trophy
Diana had great
first,
interviews
then
with
the
the
male
high flow hydraulic
championship,
women's
then we'll do
championships,
female
and
silver,
followed by fine
male
stroke
silver,
men's champions.
female bronze, male bronze,
They both had
female
excellent
four,
races,
male
and
four,
so
female
we're going to
five,
see them
male
collect their
fifth.
well-deserved hardware
So
right
similar to
here
the
behind us.
approach from last
That's
year.
Lynn Healy. You might be able to hear her
So,
voice in the background.
for the
Member of the
women's
Regatta Committee, and
championship
she's
race,
going to
which
oversee
is
the
Sterling
presentation
Communications
of the medals.
International Female Championship race. The official times are as follows. First place
Start
rowing
hearing
in
people
stake 1
hoop and
with a
holler.
time of 5:02:23, High Flow Hydraulic Limited Crew. Second place rowing in stake 2 with a time of 5:06:24, the Cal Group. Third place rowing in stake 4 with a time of 5:21:78, Steers Insurance. Fourth place rowing in stake 3 with a time of 5:24:31, Daw and Burke. Fifth place rowing in stake 5 with a time of 5:33:03, Kennedy Cleaning Services. Congratulations to all the crews. We'd like to bring forward the female championship crew, the High Flow Hydraulic Limited crew. Please come forward, ladies, for presentation of the gold medal. And presenting the gold medal on behalf of Sterling Communications International is Lorraine Pope and her daughter, Taylor Hunter. So High Flow Hydraulic Limited. The coxswain is Craig Whittle. The stroke is Catherine Kelly. Crew members Tracy Roach, Wendy Young, Teresa Butler, Amanda Butlin, Jenny Wadden, Katie Wadden, Nancy Beaton. Congratulations to the High Flow Hydraulic Limited crew. Outstanding.
I was cheering the whole way for
What's up? I'm Jason. Nice to meet you. That's a solid handshake. A good handshake will get you started. What's your name? Hi, Lila.
Lila is my best friend's daughter.
Oh, hello, best friend's daughter.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Sterling Communications International Female Championship Race, gold winners, High Flow Hydraulic Limited, with gold medals presented by Lorraine Pope and Taylor Hunter. And now we have the presentation of the Kim Sterling Memorial Female Championship Trophy. by Lorraine Pope and Taylor Hunter. Congratulations to the High Flow Hydraulic Crew 2019 Royal St. John's Regatta Female Champions. All right, congratulations again to the High Flow Hydraulic Limited crew. Now we're going to proceed with presentation of the Male Championship medal and trophy. So I'll go through and just announce the overall results. So the Male Championship, the Atlantic Lottery Male Championship results. Rowing in stake 1, first place with a time of 9:04.71, Fine Strokes Plaster and Painting Limited. Second place, rowing in stake 2 with a time of 9:21.65, Belfour. Third place, rowing in stake 3 with a time of 9:27.20, the NTV crew. Fourth place, rowing in stake 4 with a time of 9:48.42, Smith Stockley. Fifth place, rowing in stake 5 with a time of 9:53.45, Regatta Petroleum Consulting crew. Congratulations to all the male crews. Now we'd like to proceed in presenting the Atlantic Lottery Male Championship trophy and, Male Championship results to the Fine Strokes Plaster and Painting Limited crew with a time of 9:04.71. Please come forward, gentlemen. With coxswain Craig Whittle, stroke James Cadigan, Other crew members: Dan Cadigan, Mark Perry, Colin Stapleton, Mark Hayward, Adam Kavanagh, Brent Payne, and Craig Whittle. Congratulations to the Fine Strokes Plaster and Painting Limited crew, the 2019 Royal St. John's Regatta Committee Male Champions. Presenting the gold medals on behalf of our sponsor, the Atlantic Lottery Corporation, are Mr. Craig Story and Mr. Trevor Harnham. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the 2019 male champions of the Royal St. John's Regatta Committee, Regatta Fine Strokes Plaster and Painting Limited. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Double damage. That's something else, isn't it? I'll tell you. That's good. Congratulations. Well done, gentlemen. Well done.
And now we have the presentation of the Molson Coors Jerry Angel Memorial Trophy, which is just an exceptional trophy that you may recall we unveiled last year. This will be presented by Bob Angel, Allison, Donald, and Thomas Fagan of the Angel family.
Well, Amanda, well, everybody, it has been a long day. It has been an absolutely beautiful day. The sun is setting. We are a whole lot closer here to the end of our evening, and everybody is very happy. We've got big wins. We've got a lot of emotion. Everybody's feeling the tiredness. How are you feeling? It's been a big day.
It's been a big 201st regatta. It's been a great one, a historical one. It was so exciting to watch the crews row today, and just now to see the high flow hydraulic crew and the men lift their, I think that thing weighs 100 pounds, their 100-pound trophy over their head. It's just something to look at. It's been amazing.
I want to take a moment again to thank all of the volunteers from Rogers who helped us put this together. Again, Anglican East NL for your support that made this regatta production possible. To Home Depot helping us with the barbecue for our drive, Rogers Ignite, and of course Spirit of Newfoundland again for the incredible food, and to yourself, my lovely and talented co-host. We're doing a live TV hug. This is wonderful. And to everybody who's watching, thank you very much, and we'll see you next year. You want to come
I guess
back?
so. Maybe.
I'll pencil it in. We'll see you next year. Thank you, and have a great night.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Last week on the show, we got started with the HRV system. We had our electrical and plumbing roughed in. We did a walkthrough with our designers. And we went back outside to get our septic and well installed. So now that we have all of our mechanical rough-ins in place, we can shift gears and begin closing the home in. And once again, because we want to build this home to the best of our abilities, with the best products on the market today, we're bringing in a company to insulate our home with an insulation that's growing in popularity with each passing day.
My name is Robert Burke. I'm the owner of EFI Group Limited, which also owns Ecofoam Insulation and EFI Coatings Limited. So the process to apply spray foam insulation is really quite simple. All of our equipment is fully self-contained in our spray foam units, so we don't require any shore power or anything from the house that we're coming to insulate. Basically, we arrive on site. When we get inside, we need to cover anything like windows, doors, any finished products to protect them from overspray.
Right now we're just doing some prep and so on. We're wrapping up the electrical boxes here, as you can see, with the poly that's already existing for the vapor barrier. Just put a bit of tape around it, just to make sure there's no foam getting in on the wires and so on, and in the box to hamper the electrician's work. We're also putting some plastic on all the windows and doors, stapling it all the way around so that no foam gets on the glass or on the frames or anything. We're almost done that there now. Boys are just finishing up the front door here, and I'd say in another few minutes we'll be ready to get started.
Spray foam insulation has been around for quite some time now, and at first it was mostly used by people that had really deep pockets. The cost was high, and a lot of that had to do with supply and demand. Nowadays, there are several contractors in our area performing this service, which brings me to the biggest point to take into consideration. If you choose to have a contractor spray foam your home, you need to do your homework. Ask around, check references, and maybe even check out some of their work. I did just that, and now they're here to take care of the business.
So for this particular project, we've chosen to install closed cell, medium density 2-pound spray foam. We feel that it offers superior insulating value to any product that's on the market. It has an integrated vapor barrier, and more so than that, what it really means, it's different than just having the plastic on the inside of the wall. It actually eliminates moisture at the substrate, so right at the plywood at the exterior, so the moisture never actually enters the home. And that's one of the true benefits of spray foam insulation, especially closed cell medium density spray foam. It contributes to a very healthy environment within the home, eliminates exterior noise, pollutants, and various other things. And more so than that, it creates a tight home. And what I mean by that is that it's airtight, and it doesn't allow any heat loss through your exterior walls.
Now we stack some R20 batt insulation over our eaves. Now, a 6mm poly vapor barrier is applied to the ceiling and sealed with acoustic sealant. Then, with low expansion foam, seal around our windows. Now that the insulation work is complete, we're ready for drywall. And because we have a 9-foot ceiling in this home, we're using a drywall that's specifically made for this purpose. Most sheets of drywall are 4 foot wide, and that's great for an 8-foot tall wall. But when you add an extra foot to those walls, you have two choices. Either use 4-foot drywall with a 1-foot piece in, and your plasterer will no doubt hate you for that. Or 2, purchase the proper 54-inch wide drywall. So, we ordered up a bunch of it and had our building supplier drop it off. Now that all of our drywall is on site, it's time to call in some pros. And even with all this drywall around, it doesn't take these guys long to get our project done. It's all about hiring the right people. A framing contractor could almost definitely handle this task, same with some flooring installers, and maybe even some siding guys. But when you put the right people in the right places, stuff happens much quicker. 2 days, all over. With all the drywall in place, we can go ahead and get some plaster on the walls. This is one of those steps that just can't be rushed. 4 or even 5 coats of plaster may need to be applied, and each layer has to dry completely before the next layer goes on. Let's just say all that drying time adds up. The first part of our plastering process is called taping, for obvious reasons. The goal is to cover all the seams with this paper tape to prevent cracking at the seams later down the road. Once this paper tape sets up, it basically turns multiple sheets of drywall into one. Once the tape layer is completed, Tom will continue to float all the seams. So we'll leave him to do his job and head back outside to meet some guys that are going to do a very special job for us.
So here? Yeah, we're gonna make a couple swells, so maybe tack on a third piece to further kisses. I'm Roger Hibbs, co-owner of Artisan Concrete, Inc. Today we're here at Mike's house. We're going to do a stamped concrete walkway / patio area. Today we're just setting our forms here, and that will basically give us the shape of our walkway when we are finished with our stamped concrete.
There were a few things I had on my must-have list when I started building this home. A stamped concrete entry was one of those things. And I'll be honest, I spent a bunch of time driving around, looking at other people's homes, And every time concrete work genuinely impressed me, I found these guys' signs right next to it.
I'm Greg Mercer, co-owner of Artisan Concrete Inc. So once our forms are set, then we're going to bring in a 3/4 Class A rolled gravel. Once we achieve our compaction on our Class A, then we proceed with our rebar tying at 2-foot centers for maximum strength on the concrete. Once that is complete, then we proceed with the pouring and stamping of the concrete. Okay, so right now Blair is basically he's cracking and prepping the edge of the slab so it's not jaded. It's nice and smooth. And troweling out his edge marks so you won't see that when we eventually stamp. So it's all about the clean lines in this stuff. So Blair's got it down pretty good.
Right now, Greg is casting what we call a color hardener, which enhances the surface's color and also adds strength. He'll cast it in a skimming rock motion, which will give you a marbling effect for various colors. Right now, Greg is applying the release powder. This is to ensure that the mats do not stick to the concrete. Also gives it the colors throughout the job to make it more vibrant.
So right now Steve is texturing all the exterior perimeter of the slab. Basically any spots that the 9 square foot mats Roger's going to be placing that will pick up on if missed. Texturing is absolute must. How's it feel?
Very soft.
Jeez, it's going to get worse as we go. So basically now we're going to strip the face of the step here leading to the driveway. This is, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is our rock face granite mold. They're very popular for steps and they're really nice. We use them quite a lot. Okay, there you go. That's your reveal. And that's your 6-inch step leading to your driveway. They're beautiful molds. We really like using them.
We're here at Mike's place in Torbay. It's probably going to need about 40 loads of topsoil.
We want the exterior to look as good as our interior. One downside, our property is huge. That means countless loads of topsoils to prep for a nice lawn. But skimping here will only come back to bite us in the end. We want a minimum of 6 inches of soil everywhere, and that's a minimum. Poor prep now will most likely cause lumps and bumps in our lawn down the road, and that's one thing I can do without. That's one thing my lawnmower can do without. But there's one way to save a few bucks here, and an awful lot of labor. Hydro seed has become quite popular over the years, and I called up a guy to help me with just that.
I'm Paul Waterman, owner of Lampride Hydro Seeding Incorporated. Today we're here at Mike's house going to hydro seed his property, approximately 30,000 square feet. Going to give Mike a nice lawn of fescues, rye and Kentucky bluegrass. We start out by liming the property. The reason why we lime is the pH is low in the topsoil. We like to get it up to about 6.5, 7 before a hydro seed. Gives a nicer product. Keeps the moss down, keeps the weeds down, under control. For more information on Lampride Hydro Seeding, you're welcome to visit our website at hydroseedingnewfoundland.com.
That's it for this episode, folks. Come back and join us again next week as we continue to build our home right here on Built in NL.
Blue on Water's walls are a combination of smooth and rough, well-worn brick. Artificial light comes from naked bulbs at the end of long wires that dangle like baubles. On one side of the narrow room, there's a row of 4 neatly constructed, comfortable booths. Opposite is a row of tables and chairs against a long banquette. The tables, set with wine glasses, napkins, and plates, are ready to receive guests. Above the banquette, a large chalk blackboard advertises wines and beers. Next to the blackboard, a narrow room divider with shelves displays bottled summer and fall produce. Mussels, freshly steamed and on the shell, came in a bluish-gray bowl. They'd been arranged to look like a large, exotic bloom. A labor-intensive project, but it made an impression. The pale, soft creatures, cooked in white wine and thyme, were enriched with cream and a stir of mustard. Sprigs of herbs and finely diced onions strewn over all improved the taste and presentation, although in some respects it was like gilding a lily. Sausage and red bell pepper soup was served straight up. It wasn't as thick, but it reminded me of the very best freshly made spaghetti sauce. Sweet pepper, sausage, tomato, and Italian herbs and spices are a wonderful combination, especially with flavors that only come from slow and low cooking. It was a real treat. In French cookery, barigoule refers to a method of preparing artichokes and mushrooms together. Artichokes, white mushrooms, cauliflower, and carrots are sautéed and simmered in white wine, water, and a squeeze of lemon. Blue on Water's version includes fish. Chef Adam Grabat's salmon à la barigoule is barigoule with the addition of a fresh salmon cutlet, a welcome interloper. I liked the piquancy given the dish by the citrusy wine broth, almost like hot and sour soup. Salmon served in this way is lighter and milder. Beets come in all colors, if not shapes. Blue's beet salad had slices of pink and purple red beets, kale, goat cheese, and hemp seed crumble. It was dressed with pomegranate vinaigrette. Fresh, butter-smooth goat cheese made a big impression, and, along with the brightly flavored beets, made the salad very delicious. Blue serves salmon or chicken tacos. We had chicken tacos with red cabbage, corn salsa, jalapeno jam, and lime buttermilk. 2 tacos were served open-faced, displaying what was essentially a colorful Mexican chicken salad. With a spritz from the fresh quarters of lime provided, the tacos tasted like, well, summer. Our dessert wasn't tarte tatin, the famous apple tart invented at Hotel Tatin, La Montbouvrant, France, but more of a tartelette tatin, or tartelette pomme. It came topped with a quenelle of homemade nut-flavored ice cream. The tender pastry combined with jammy, caramelized apple was excellent, and the ice cream was exceptionally good. Blue on Water, 319 Water Street, St. John's, receives a rating of 3 stars out of 4. Lunch for 2 with wine, tax, and tip costs approximately $140. For reservations, call 709-754-2583.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
This is why Superman works alone.
How many are there?
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Oh, God, that's good.
At St. John Ambulance, we're all about community. We teach life-saving skills and provide community support through our volunteer services. All St. John Ambulance product sales and training registrations support these important services. Volunteer, donate, or enroll in a program today so we can continue to have an impact on our community. Visit sja.ca to learn more. At St. John Ambulance, we do more than save lives, we change lives.
Safe channels for motorized boats, especially with deeper drafts, are generally marked with channel markers. Most are red or green and are either floating ones, called buoys, or on shore, called day beacons. Another caution you should be aware of is this: a diving flag. A diving flag indicates diving activity in progress, and you should stay at least 100 feet away.